I just sold my first ever painted miniature, but after over 8 hours of hobby, I worked out that as a professional painter, I'm on less than £3 an hour. So is the dream of turning the hobby into a side hustle actually a nightmare? Let's find out. Hey, I'm Ollie and you're watching Blackheart Minis, and today I wanted to take you through my first experience of painting for profit and all the mistakes I made along the way. Now, commission painting isn't something I'd really ever considered myself. That is until Miniswap approached me and asked me to paint a miniature to sell on their website. And honestly, it made me think, am I really good enough to sell my painted minis? What is my time as a painter worth? And most importantly, can I paint fast enough to make this a viable side hustle? Well, recently I was approached by Miniswap, who challenged me to paint a miniature to sell on their website. Without a whole lot of thought, I chose Ragnar Blackmane from the Space Wars, mostly just because I thought if I paint a miniature that's not from an army I'm collecting, maybe I wouldn't feel so bad about selling it on. And so I set myself a goal to paint Ragnar as quickly as I could and to the best of my ability. Spoiler alert, it turns out that with only 18 months of experience under my belt in terms of painting, I absolutely do not have the speed or efficiency I need to make a living doing this just yet. Now, I did sell the mini, but I made a ton of mistakes along the way. So let's go through some of the biggest mistakes I made, and hopefully you won't make them yourself. All in all, my biggest mistake was I went in without a plan. I didn't plan my time, and I definitely didn't plan my paint scheme. Initially, I thought if I could paint to a tabletop plus standard and sell the miniature for twice what it was worth unpainted, I would potentially have a nice little side hustle on my hands. Unfortunately, reality hit me faster than I expected, because it took me 90 minutes alone just to build and clean the damn thing. And the painting? That took me over 6 hours. And a lot of the heavy lifting was done with the airbrush. The miniature I chose to paint costs around £30 unpainted, and without any knowledge of what minis are worth painted or what they sell for, I plan to try and sell him for £60, double what he's worth unpainted. So in my mind, I thought if I could paint him in under 3 hours, I'd be onto a winner. But I soon realized I wasn't quick enough to achieve this speed to the standard I wanted. I was making silly mistakes because I really didn't go in with a plan for the paint scheme. Really, I was just trying my best to replicate the box art, but with a bit more of a neutral, old school grey scheme. And because I didn't go in with a plan, I ended up second guessing many of the choices I made and repainting things that I wasn't happy with, sometimes multiple times. In fact, I painted the chainsword red. Then I changed my mind and wanted to paint it yellow to replicate the box art, but I really didn't like that, so I painted it red again. I painted that damn chainsword so much, by the time I was done, I practically had to freehand the runes back on it. And so I was already well over my 3-hour deadline, but I didn't know when to stop. Instead of being efficient, I kept adding highlights and glazes and reworking areas. Honestly, my lack of experience really showed. What made things even worse was while I was trying to fight against the clock, I was also trying to learn how to film myself with my big boy camera, the DSLR. And I haven't really used it in this format before, so I was teaching myself a brand new skill while trying to keep my professional painting time to a minimum. Not only was I fighting a losing battle with my camera, trying to stay in focus and keeping my fat head out of the way of the lens, I also ended up with over 300 gigabytes of footage. And most of it was unusable because I kept drifting out of focus or fidgeting. In hindsight, I probably needed to plan for the filming side of the painting as well. And realistically, I should really have only been filming little snippets of the important parts, not every single part of the hobby session. I would say I probably lost around 50% of the time I was meant to be painting to fiddling with my camera settings and trying to paint in focus, something I failed at consistently. Aside from my struggles with the painting process and my lack of an actual plan for the painting itself, I did manage to finish the model in just under 7 hours, and I was happy enough with the result. When I was done adding the finishing touches to the Mini, it was time to list Ragnar on Miniswap. So what is Miniswap? Well, Miniswap is a website designed specifically to sell miniatures, from boxed to half-built to fully painted minis. It's a dedicated marketplace for wargamers that focuses on selling miniatures from Games Workshop systems. Miniswap is open to customers in the UK, the US, and Canada, but transactions must be domestic, meaning you and the buyer must be in the same country. However, support for the EU and international cross-border shipping is coming soon. Anyways, when it came to listing on Miniswap, that was probably the easiest part of the challenge entirely. You simply complete your details and securely link your bank account via Stripe. From there, you can list your items, the system, the condition, from boxed to pro-painted, and you set your price. Shipping is as simple as selling on eBay. When you make a sale, you can print a label or use a QR code at your local post office. After listing my Mini, I was absolutely shocked when it sold in just a few hours. I'd made £60 selling my first Mini. Honestly, it's so cool just to think that I've sold my first Mini, and in less than 2 years in this hobby, I've become a selling artist? Absolute madness, honestly. So let's work out how much my time is actually worth. First off, let's round up and say I spent 7 hours painting and 90 minutes building. That's 8.5 hours. Now, I sold the Mini for £60, so when deducting £5.30 in total fees and the cost of the Mini, £29.50, we have a total profit of £25.20. So that means my hourly rate would only be £2.96. I certainly won't be quitting my day job anytime soon, but I did sell a miniature, my first miniature sold, and as this is just a hobby, it's profit I wouldn't have earned otherwise. Personally though, I think I need a lot more experience to do this on the regular, but a little pocket money here and there certainly doesn't hurt, especially from selling minis I'm not going to use for gaming or display. So what do you think? Am I a professional painter now that I've sold my first Mini? Probs not. But Miniswap works, the process is easy, and even though I'm not paying the mortgage just yet, I'm really happy with how this paint job turned out. Here he is, my finished Ragnar Blackmane. I don't know if I overvalued or undervalued my painting ability, but I definitely undervalued my time based on how much I spent. But I think if I hadn't have been filming everything, I would have done a better job at painting the Mini and would have been much faster. I'm really happy with how he turned out, but let me know what you think. Is he worth £60? If you've made your hobby a side hustle, let us know in the comments down below. And tell me, what's your #1 tip for staying efficient? I clearly need all the help I can get before my next attempt. If you want to check out Miniswap or start your own side hustle, hopefully with a better plan than mine, head on over to miniswap.gg. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications of future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.